Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Creative-ish podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Ariana.
And today we're going to be talking all about unfair advantages, luck, how to create luck for yourself, and how to leverage those unfair advantages. We've really been in this mood of luck because we've seen a lot of the lucky girl syndrome on TikTok, on YouTube, and everywhere. And this is actually the week of St. Patrick's Day, which, luck.
Apparently luck is in the air.
Luck is in the air, and I feel lucky.
Today is actually also a 13th. So it's a lucky number. So
Exactly. But the episode comes out the 14th.
on the 14th. But we're recording this on the 13th.
So you can feel the luckiness through your ears or your
God.
eyes.
To really test our luck today, guys, we actually went to the casino before recording this.
It didn't go well. We lost $10. Because I found $10 in the purse and I was like, oh my God, I'm so lucky I found these $10. And we went to a coffee shop and the coffee shop was next to a casino. And I was like, well, I should just try and my hand at the casino. And Addie had never gone to a casino. And I was just like, I'm just going to go to a casino. I felt so lost. First of all, that's a side note, but casinos.
It has such a weird vibe as well. It feels like it's another universe in there. Like people feel like they are just hypnotized by the machines. They almost feel like not human. It's kind of scary and creepy.
Anyway, we lost the $10.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Not going there again.
No.
No.
Anyway, let's just dive into today's topic. So, as I said, we're talking about unfair advantages. And in simple terms, an unfair advantage is basically something that can't be easily bought or replicated. So, your unfair advantages are your strengths, but they can also be your circumstances. For example, the location that you live in, where you grew up, where you studied, etc. We'll dive into all of these.
Yeah, basically your unfair advantage is kind of like a competitive advantage that puts you ahead of your crowd, that puts you ahead in different circumstances in life. And I think it's important to talk about this topic because it just brings to light how we all come from different circumstances and we really can't compare our path to other people's paths because we all have different unfair advantages. And the reality is that you also have unfair advantages and you have stuff that makes you special and that makes you different. So that's kind of like what we're going to talk about today.
Exactly. So how do you find your unfair advantage? Well, there's a variety of ways, but we're going to start with intelligence and insight. So if you consider yourself a person that is book smart, creatively intelligent, if you haven't, if you just have a knack for doing things, you just have a innate intelligence and skill.
And our drive to
Exactly.
be smart, to learn.
Exactly. That is actually a unfair advantage that you can leverage in your life because that is something that does not come easily to a lot of people. For example, math. Some people are math whiz and
Math wizards.
math just comes easily to them, but that is not something that is for everyone. So if you are naturally intelligent in a particular subject or just naturally intelligent overall, that is an unfair advantage that you can leverage. And then the second part is having insight. So basically your insight is like your unique knowledge in a certain area. So some insider information that you might have, like specific patterns that you might see in whatever it is that you're doing or that you research. So having that insight and having that knowledge to predict patterns and notice those types of things, that is a unique insight that you have, and it's an unfair advantage. And another way you can have an unfair advantage is with your education. So this can be in a variety of ways. So Your education is not something that you have to particularly tie to an institution or a certain college or university. You can develop your knowledge in a lot of different ways, and you can leverage them in different ways as well. For example, if you do go to an institution like a university or a college or a well-respected university, that university is going to give you knowledge, and it's going to give you networking opportunities. It's going to give you like the prestige of going to that university, and it's going to be an unfair advantage. But on the other side, you can also have an unfair advantage. For example, if you decide you don't want to do the university route, you want to do the online education route, then you have the unfair advantage that you can finish your education a lot sooner. You can get educated by people you want to get educated by, so direct people that you admire. You can also do that. And depending on what path you choose, that is your unfair advantage that you can use in your favor. So yeah, based on whatever path you do decide to choose, just know that it is an unfair advantage, whatever you decide to do, but you need to put in the time and do the work to get that knowledge and also get those networking skills. And however you do it, just
get the most out of the opportunity. Like whatever path you choose, if you do decide to go to college, making the most out of that opportunity. Whatever college that you go to, just kind of like leveraging your circumstances.
Yeah. And an example is, for example, we had the ability to be in a school that had like a collaboration with a university. So we actually could take college classes and educate ourselves within the university and earn those credits. So by the time we graduated from high school, each of us had 40 credits, which is like a year in university. So we took advantage of that opportunity and trying to get ahead in our education, which is something that I'm really grateful for younger Kelly and Ari, because we skipped a year in university. So just, leverage those opportunities and recognize where you have those unfair advantages and how you can leverage them.
Then another type of unfair advantage is having expertise. So expertise is being able to do something very well or being able to solve a very specific type of problem. And the thing about expertise is that it evolves over time. Most certainly, you are building your expertise as you go and you learn more about what you're doing as you go. So it is a long-term game. What's really interesting about building expertise is that if you really want to have an unfair advantage, you have to be kind of like strategic with what type of expertise you build. So for example, I was recently listening to this podcast by Naval. It was called How to Get Rich. It was a 3-hour long super mega episode. Highly suggest you listen to it because it has so many insights that I'm not even going to be able to do justice explaining it. So go check it out. But anyway, they were talking about building specific knowledge as a way to build wealth and becoming a very differentiated person in your field. Basically, a specific knowledge is a type of knowledge that only you have or that very few people in your industry know how to do. And it's kind of something that you have either built through time by doing your own research, by doing extensive studying or practicing, or you have made a specific progress that is unique to you. Because basically their whole point is that if your knowledge or your expertise has kind of like gone mainstream, quote unquote, then you can be easily replaceable. I think of social media managers. They have become highly mainstream. So I think that if you want to stand out as a social media manager nowadays, you kind of have to like mix in other types of skills that will make you a more differentiated individual in that industry. So for example, you want to say something?
Yeah, or to expand that, if you're a social media manager, how can you build expertise on a particular platform? So, for example, there's a lot of social media managers making bank with Pinterest. Like, they're social media managers, but their only focus is Pinterest, and they are really good at doing that, and that is their expertise, and they do it amazingly well. And that is their unfair advantage, because social media managers in general, the whole term, is usually geared towards Instagram/TikToks. But then these other social media managers are taking up all these clients that are Pinterest. And it's like they only do Pinterest and they do it really, really well. And the riches is in the niches.
Yeah. Or to give like another example, a social media manager that can also design your brand, or a social media manager that can also take your pictures. Kind of like unique advantages, kind of like skill stacking. That makes your offer much more unique, and it will kind of give you an unfair advantage, because it's easier for you to get to the top 5% of social media managers that can also do branding versus getting to the top 1% of just social media managers, if you get what I mean.
Exactly. Another unfair advantage that you also might have is location. Depending on where you are close to ideas, opportunities, money.
Yeah, I think that an unfair advantage that you can have if you do live in a city is how basically serendipitously you can meet with somebody very influential in your industry, and you can kind of just like meet them in a coffee shop line, get to chat with them for a bit and exchange emails and have that connection. Especially New York, it's the melting pot for a lot of creatives. So if you are in that industry, putting yourself in that location will kind of like just raise your chances of being able to network with high level people and make great connections.
Exactly. Like if you're in any big city, you are able to ask people out for coffee chats and network more easily, in my opinion. I've never lived in a big city, but I feel like it's easier to be closer to people that you admire, and like there's a higher chance to meet them.
Yeah.
And also, to add to the location and the unfair advantage of being in a certain location, is you might have a lot of resources close to you based on your location, especially if you're part of a city, because you have museums, there's a lot of culture, you might have parks. So you have a lot of areas. You might have photography studios. Depending on where you are and what location you live in, what is the unfair advantage? Like, find out how can you have an unfair advantage and utilize the city that you're living in, or the town or the state or whatever. Like, how can you use that to your advantage? Usually in these bigger cities, there's also more events. And I know I've said bigger cities, but also there's these types of things in smaller cities. You just have to search.
And then another unfair advantage is status. We actually have two types of status. There is our outer status, and then there's our inner status. Our outer status is kind of like what other people believe about you, or more so like what they see from their limited point of view of who you are. So let's say that it's kind of like your material assets, your job, your degree, kind of like the reputation that you've built for yourself and what other people see. And then there's your inner status, which is your confidence, your ability to believe in yourself, your self-identity, and all of that.
Yeah, it's, for example, if you're a person that has no money, or maybe no natural intelligence, like I said, like the first unfair advantage, but you have that deep innate ability that you believe in yourself, that you're so confident, that is your unfair advantage, and that is going to help you a lot.
Yeah, like the reality is that we might be a lot smarter, a lot more knowledgeable or talented than somebody else, but that somebody else might have a higher inner status, so they have more confidence, they have a higher belief in themselves. They are essentially going to make it, they are going to make things happen for themselves. They are probably going to make more money, be more successful, even if they are not as talented or as smart, quote unquote, they are smart in the way that they have high confidence, you know, that they believe in themselves and they know how to sell themselves. A lot of people, it doesn't come as naturally to them to have that inner confidence. And it's something that you kind of have to work at.
No, exactly. It can go both ways. You know, like I said, using also the example of going to like a good university. Like if you go, you could go to Harvard or you could go to the best university. And if you don't have that inner confidence and that inner belief in yourself, that means nothing. Because how are you going to sell yourself? You know, so use those unfair advantages to your favor.
I would also like to add that you should work on your inner status first, because that will lead to a better quality outer status. So for example, when you start working on your confidence and your self-identity and your belief in yourself, that will lead to better opportunities for you, because people will start to see you as trustworthy, that you are capable of doing things. So better opportunities will come along, better friendships, just, you know, overall things.
You'll get lucky.
It starts from within, guys.
And the final unfair advantage, which we're just gonna gloss over, is money, guys. You know the drill. You know, money can help you in a bunch of different ways. You can use money to buy equipment, move faster. There's just...
Get more time.
So many advantages to having money. So that is an unfair advantage.
I recently heard this in a podcast, and it said that, you know, the quote, money can't buy happiness. They said that the person that tells you that money can't buy happiness actually doesn't know how to spend their money right. The reality is that money can just give you so much freedom and also access to resources.
Exactly. Like I was saying, you can use that money to move to a bigger city. Use that money to go to a fancy college. Use that money for a lot of things. So yeah, we're just stating it as a fact that money is an unfair advantage.
Get better mental health services. You can go out more, so like better relationships, because we
don't need all the reasons.
Yeah, I'm just talking. I feel like another unfair advantage is to just have lucky moments. You know, there's people in your life that you know that are just kind of naturally lucky, like they just win free money out of nowhere.
They just win in life.
That sort of stuff that it's like, you know, you really can't control, and you know, that might be classified as also like an unfair advantage.
But you can't control your luck.
There is a way to kind of like hack your luck and become luckier and open up your doors for luck to come into your life. So let's talk about it.
Here are some ways to become luckier in your life. Number 1, you need to believe that you are lucky. You do, as cliche as it sounds.
Step number 1, just believe in yourself.
You have to believe it.
I feel like a lot of people have just this negative bias towards life and towards themselves.
I feel that too.
Like things are just going to go wrong.
Yeah.
So
and when you
examine.
Yeah, exactly. So when you believe you're lucky, you're very optimistic about how things are going to turn out. And when you are optimistic, you do recognize when lucky things happen to you. And there's a feeling of more gratefulness in your life, I feel like, as well. And so when you do feel like you're a lucky person, you're optimistic, you're grateful, good things happen to you. The universe rewards you. And one of the ways that you can believe that you are lucky and feel lucky is by doing affirmations. And I actually, my favorite affirmations actually is one I heard a few years ago by James Wedmore, or from James Wedmore, I should say. And it's, my success is inevitable. And at first that might be like, oh my God, my success is inevitable.
It feels a little entitled.
Exactly. But it actually is. Your success is inevitable. And you should believe that your success is inevitable. And when you tell yourself, my success is inevitable, my success is inevitable, you will believe it, and you'll feel lucky and you'll feel grateful, and you become more resilient. When things don't go the way that you expect them to, or they don't go the way you planned them to go, you're still optimistic and you still believe that there's something better coming along, or that things happen for a reason. And so you still feel like a lucky person and you feel that optimism and things will go your way eventually. So you have to believe that you're lucky. Another way to create luck in your life is to be clear about your goals and to voice them out loud. And this is actually something that I learned from one of my entrepreneurship professors way back in the day in college. And he used to tell us that because he was like head of a fund that gave money to startups, and he would tell us that a lot of startup founders usually they hold their ideas so close to their chest and they are so afraid of sharing their ideas in fears that somebody else might steal them or copy them and all of that. And that truly comes from a place of a little bit of insecurity and pessimism, because when you do voice these ideas, and that's what he used to tell us, the startup founders that would voice their ideas, their goals, their ambitions, their ways to develop their new product, usually more opportunities would come their way and they would be quote unquote luckier, because when they put that stuff out into the world and other people find out about them, other people want to help them and are focused on helping them. And they can be like, oh yeah, I know a person that can help you with that. Oh yeah, I have this resource that I can lend to you. And those connections happen. But if you don't do that, then, and you just hold your idea so close to your chest, then that's not going to happen. And that goes as well when you're sharing your ideas online. If you just keep your ideas to yourself and you don't share anything, nobody's going to find you and nobody's going to know how awesome you are, what your goals are. They're not going to know how to help you. And when you actually put yourself out there and share your goals and all of this, you find people and opportunities that can help you along the way.
I believe that it's really about having unshakable confidence in yourself. So for example, with your startup idea, if you have an unshakable confidence that this is yours, this is meant for you, and that you are the only person that can do this with your vision, with your expertise. And also something that I see a lot on the internet is people saying like, oh, don't share your goals or don't share your ideas because people will put like bad juju on you and have like their negative vibes ruin your destiny. I 100% don't believe in that. I think that if your plan goes south, it's probably because you sabotaged it. Yeah. So I think that you have to have that unshakable confidence in yourself that your ideas are meant to be shared. Your ideas are meant to happen for you. Like you can share them freely. And if somebody like tears you down a little or tries to tear you down or tells you that that is not right or that's not going to work out, it shouldn't matter, because you should have an unshakable confidence in your idea. And if somebody else can shake that idea out of you, then it probably wasn't meant to be, because you weren't as passionate and as strong enough with it. So maybe it wasn't meant to be that way.
Yeah, and again, going back to like not sharing your ideas online and all of that, I feel like, again, we're talking here about looking at life and everything with an optimistic view. And I feel like that is such a negative way to see things sometimes, and it's like it's gonna create your reality. And so if you're thinking negatively, again, that's not gonna be good for you. So just try to switch up that mindset and see it in an optimistic way. Like I was saying, there are a lot more nicer people than there are bad people. I genuinely believe that.
The reality is that if you do voice your ideas and your wishes and your goals, probably somebody will see it and can help you out. Or maybe somebody can see it and then they're having a conversation with another group of people and they can bring you up, and that opens another door for you. And that is kind of like how the cycle works.
Yeah, to finish off, just don't be afraid to share your goals with other people.
Just hope for the best.
You don't need to hope for the best. Everything will be okay. Be optimistic. Anyways, another way to become luckier is to be open to new opportunities. One of my favorite phrases is, luck is when opportunity meets preparation. So when you are open to these new opportunities, luck will strike. So when opportunities come your way, again, you need to make the most out of them. And a lot of people that consider themselves unlucky, they get stuck in that planning phase, and they are usually the ones who want to have certainty, so they don't take those opportunities and run with them. They want to have that certainty, and they are kind of afraid of taking risks. So when you are open to opportunities and you're willing to take risk, luck will strike.
Yeah, on the topic of being open to opportunities, I was actually thinking about this today. I was reflecting on just two really cool inquiries that I got this weekend that I feel like are pretty aligned with the type of work that I want to do. And I was just reflecting on the dark months that I had where I wanted to quit, and how if I would have quit and I would have gotten a regular job, then I wouldn't be able to take on those opportunities because I just wouldn't have the bandwidth. So sometimes it's really interesting how life works when you don't see instant gratification for what you're doing and you're just on the verge of quitting, and then something really cool can be just on the other side. Like you were just about to receive that opportunity, but you quit and you closed that door. Yeah.
And also, in this topic of being open to opportunities, you can also create like your character to be a person that does receive those opportunities. Like you can become a person that is reliable, trustworthy, that people look up to, and people want you to invest in them or spend time with them or help them in some way. And when you become that type of person, people want to collaborate with you. And one example that comes to mind is Tim Ferriss. Tim Ferriss is super famous, and he's famous because he's a thought leader, and he got famous off of his books and all of that. And because of his unique status, and because people respect him, and because he has built his character in a way, a lot of people want to work with him, and a lot of people want to collaborate with him. And so he is quote unquote lucky because he gets the chance to work with maybe these cool new companies, because those cool new companies want to work with him. And so he has attracted this type of quote unquote luck into his life.
The thing with Tim Ferriss is that he is so generous with his ideas. So he puts himself out there a lot. He genuinely cares about people living better lives and building a life by design. So I think that the way that he's been so generous with giving his ideas to the world, now he's like receiving so much from people, receiving so much audience, love, accolades,
Exactly.
status.
Exactly. And so, yeah, again, going back to the point, to share your ideas and your goals.
And I think that something about Tim Ferriss is that, I don't know his story that well, but he wrote a book. When you write a book, you really don't 100% know how much the return on investment is going to be. Like some authors truly just take a gamble and they make the book just because they want to put that knowledge out there and put something out there that will be transformational for somebody else. And I think that that is a key to attracting the right stuff into your life. When you are giving, when you are more generous, when you are in this relaxed manner that, yes, you are giving your ideas to the world, you are being generous, more stuff will be attracted to you. Instead of, I think that the opposite of offering transformational ideas into the world and being generous in that way and genuinely caring about people is kind of like being more transactional online, like this desperate energy. Some people might start off their business and quit their full-time job immediately and then find themselves in a place of a little bit of disparity because they couldn't figure it all out, and now they don't have a job, and now the business has to be the thing, and all they do is sell and sell and sell, and you kind of just want to tune them out because it starts to become just a little bit much. But with Tim Ferriss's content, you kind of want to tune it up because it's helpful, it's transformational. So I think that's an interesting way to look at things. It's similar to the quote, don't chase, attract.
Be more relaxed to attract luck. Like, try to not be so desperate. I know that sounds a little bad, but just try to look at life in a more calm demeanor and be like grounded within your body. And that way you will be more clear headed and see things clearly and see the opportunities that are around you as well.
It makes you more attractive when you're more relaxed.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, you know your stuff.
Exactly. And it attracts more people to you.
Sometimes I feel like the energy of, I don't need you. Like, we are so attracted to that. I don't know why. That's interesting. But anyway, let's move on to the next point.
Talking about attracting people, another thing that you can do to give yourself luck is to surround yourself with the right people as well. We don't need to talk about this that much, but actually, when you surround yourself with the right people, luck strikes. Because similar to sharing your goals and ideas, when you share them, other people will want to help you. And when you surround yourself with people, then
yeah, I think it's not surrounding yourself with pessimistic people.
Just surround yourself with other optimistic people in your life and other people who consider themselves lucky. Like, if you're a person that maybe doesn't consider yourself lucky, surround yourself with people who do consider themselves lucky, and it'll rub off on you the luckiness feeling. And the final thing that you can actually do to become luckier, which we already talked about a little bit, is to show up and be consistent.
This is the foolproof way to get lucky.
It is, because when you are consistent, as Ari said, I think earlier, again, you're more exposed to more opportunities. Your chances of serendipity increase, and that is amazing. And again, more people can listen to your ideas, can hear your self-talk, can hear, your thoughts about the world, and you can connect with other people.
Something that we recently heard from Ali Abdal's course. Oh my gosh, we've been mentioning him consistently.
I'm so sorry.
Anyway, he was talking about how with consistency comes improved likability. For example, when you listen to a song for the first time, you might feel a little bit like, meh. Like, for example, me listening to Midnights for the first time and being so, not impressed. But then as I kept listening to it, I liked it more and more and more. And now I actually, I love the songs in there. So consistency will do the same for you. If you consistently show up online, people will grow more of an affinity to you. People will start to like you more. They will know more of like your values and what you stand for and who you really are, if you really are consistent with putting your full self out there.
Yeah, it really helps when you put yourself online and become consistent with it. Like, think of it as building your online real estate in a way. And as I said, increasing your chance for serendipity, increasing the chances that people can find you. Nowadays, really, it's like you're multiplying yourself when you build this online real estate. And it's just like you can be in so many places at once, quote unquote. Like, you can be on TikTok, you can be on YouTube, you can be on Spotify. You can be on so many places. And that is a lower barrier to entry. And I do believe that the future will require all of us to, in some way, shape, or form, be in most of the platforms.
Being media companies.
Exactly. That's a whole other topic. But yeah, I think that is going to be the new leverage and the new unfair advantage that's going to take over.
The good thing about it is that it's open doors for everyone. Everyone can have access to making a YouTube channel, a TikTok account. Anyone has kind of like the same chances at it if they really are consistent with it. Talking about TikTok, I am actually trying my hand at this and trying to be more consistent on there. And I actually started a brand new personal account, and I'm doing 100 days of daily TikToks.
And you're doing so well. I'm so proud of you.
Thanks.
She's doing so well. Each day we have the tracker and everything.
It's been great. So like, we could do a whole episode on this, but if you're also a perfectionist with showing up online, then this can help you so much, because essentially you might make a regular video, a normal video, but you have to put it out because it's the challenge. And tomorrow you can do just a little bit better. And that is how you flex that muscle of being okay with putting stuff out there that is not 100% polished, that is not 100% scripted or, you know, fully thought through. And so, yeah, I'm really enjoying that. It's been great.
She's doing a great job, guys. Go follow her. Ariana.Sophia.
Yeah, guys, consider giving me a follow. I have like literally 2 followers in there.
She's doing so good.
And it's us.
Transparency. So yeah, guys, that was today's episode. And to wrap it up, I wanted to share this quote by James Clear. So this is the quote: "Lucky opportunities tend to be stumbled upon, not handed out. If you're waiting for someone to hand deliver an excellent opportunity to you, it's unlikely to happen. But if you are exploring and moving, if you are in the mix and engaged, then you'll stumble upon many opportunities. The active mind comes across a lot. Keep tilling the soil and you will occasionally unearth something wonderful." And again, that quote was by James Clear. Basically what we've discussed in today's episode.
Essentially, it's all about planting seeds and you'll get lucky later on.
Exactly. Plant some clover. Actually, the house we moved to has clover.
Really?
Yeah, have you seen the clover in the garden?
No.
So we're so lucky. Anyway, that was today's episode. If you guys enjoyed it, please feel free to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, a rating on Spotify, or subscribe on YouTube. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you in the next one.